A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a decisive move that has drawn sharp international criticism, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced the approval of plans for a military takeover of Gaza City. This announcement comes amidst warnings from humanitarian organizations, including the International Red Cross and the United Nations, about an impending catastrophe in the Gaza Strip. As the Israeli military prepares for an offensive, aid groups have been advised to brace for forced displacement of civilians, raising fears of increased suffering in a region already under immense strain. During a visit to Israeli soldiers stationed in the Gaza division, Netanyahu stated, "We are in the decision-making stage. I have come to the Gaza division today to approve the plans that the IDF presented to me for the takeover of Gaza City and the defeat of Hamas." He emphasized that the military operation and negotiations for the return of Israeli hostages are intertwined, stating, "These two things, the defeat of Hamas and the release of all our hostages, go hand in hand." This announcement has raised alarm bells not only within Gaza, but also internationally. The Gaza Health Ministry has rejected the Israeli military's directive to displace personnel in the north, arguing that it would endanger the lives of over 1 million residents who rely on medical care. The ministry's statement highlights the dire situation in Gaza, where access to healthcare, food, and safe water is rapidly diminishing. The humanitarian crisis has prompted calls for an immediate ceasefire from various international leaders, including UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who warned of the catastrophic consequences a military operation could unleash. Netanyahu's remarks come at a time when families of Israeli hostages are expressing deep concern over the potential military operation. They fear that such actions would amount to a death sentence for their loved ones held by Hamas. In a recent interview, Netanyahu was asked if Israel would pursue a complete takeover of Gaza, regardless of a potential ceasefire deal with Hamas. His response was unequivocal: "We're going to do that anyway. There was never a question that we're not going to leave Hamas there." The international community's response has been swift, with 21 countries, including the UK, condemning Israel's plans for illegal settlement construction in the occupied West Bank as a violation of international law. The British Foreign Secretary described the settlement approval as a flagrant breach of established norms, further isolating Israel on the global stage. As the military situation escalates, protests are gaining momentum both within Israel and internationally. Families of hostages held a press conference urging the Israeli government to pursue a ceasefire deal already accepted by Hamas, which could potentially lead to the release of half of the surviving hostages. Lishri Miran Lavi, whose husband is believed to be alive in captivity, stated, "We're a step away from a total torpedoing of a deal. There is an agreement on the table that could save the lives of hostages and return the dead for proper burial." Despite Netanyahu's assurances of imminent victory, skepticism is growing among the families of hostages and the public regarding the government's handling of the crisis. The increasing defiance of international opinion has led to Israel being perceived as a pariah state, particularly due to the humanitarian devastation inflicted on Gaza and the recent approval of illegal settlements. In a significant military escalation, Israeli forces bombarded Gaza City overnight, following the call-up of 60,000 reservists. While military officials indicated that most reservists would not be deployed in combat immediately, the call-up suggests a serious commitment to the planned offensive. The Israeli military's actions have intensified fears of a full-scale invasion, with the potential for catastrophic civilian casualties. The proposed military operation aligns with a ceasefire proposal that has been under negotiation, which includes a 60-day ceasefire and the release of hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. However, the Israeli government has yet to provide an official response to this proposal, leaving the fate of many in limbo. As the situation evolves, the international community watches closely, with Gulf nations like the UAE and Saudi Arabia balancing their diplomatic relations with Israel against the backdrop of rising casualties and humanitarian crises. The ongoing conflict poses significant challenges to regional stability and the normalization narrative that has been developing in recent years. In conclusion, Netanyahu's approval of the Gaza City takeover plan marks a critical juncture in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The ramifications of this decision will likely resonate far beyond the immediate military objectives, affecting humanitarian conditions in Gaza and Israel's standing in the international community. The call for a ceasefire grows louder as the world grapples with the implications of renewed violence in a region long plagued by conflict. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.